Hi guys, and welcome back to Brain-Friendly Thinking. Today I show you a simple and practical way how you can keep the knowledge of your focus topic active in your mind. In my last video I talked about the importance of having a focus topic and that it allows you to utilize the rhodopsin effect and to be able to see opportunities, see problems, and develop appropriate solutions. This week I'd like to show you a simple and I think fun way of doing exactly this. It's a method originally proposed by the German psychologist Vera F. Birkenbihl, and she called it the strategy lottery. You're selecting concepts from your focus topic and you're randomly selecting thinking tools. Different thinking tools help you to think from different directions. You regularly set yourself time in which you use one or several of these thinking tools to look at different aspects of your focus topic. This will keep the knowledge active in your mind. It will help you to see new connections and to see new facets of your topic. I tried this over the past couple of weeks. It works very well for me, and hopefully you will also find it useful. To use this method, we first need to do a little bit of preparation, and then comes the actual doing. We need to prepare a couple of thinking tools we want to use, and also a list with core concepts of our focus topic. Afterwards, you combine tools and concepts with one another, and I'm going to walk you through a couple of practical demonstrations of how this can look like. So first thing which I did is I selected a number of thinking tools which I would like to use to think about, and most of them I have already talked about on this channel before. Like we have the CaGa, we have the ABC list, the CaWa, and some others. All of these words I wrote on small index cards, and this is going to serve us as our randomizer. So if I take all of the cards and I shuffle them, just like playing cards, I can then draw one from the top, and this will tell me the thinking technique which I should be working with right now. Next up, we need to compile a list of all the important concepts of our focus topic. You can compile the list in multiple ways. You could, for instance, use ABC lists or CaWas. In my case, I went through my old notebooks. I have two focus topics. One of them is thinking, the other one is systems. I marked all of them, and then going through the notebook, I selected all of the core concepts which I think are important, and I also wrote them on small index cards. And here they are. On the left side are my concepts about thinking, on the right side are my concepts about systems. As we learn more and more about the topic, there will be more and more concepts we can think about. I now want a way to randomize the concepts of my focus topic. For that, I'm going to use a hat, and I'm going to place all of the index cards inside the hat. And the hat is a really great tool to randomize all of my concept cards. So then, first thing we have to do is we need to know what thinking tool we want to use. I already mixed my cards, and I'm now going to draw the one on top. It says ABC inventory. An ABC inventory is just a normal ABC list as opposed to an ABC active. And I also need to randomly select a concept I want to think about. Let's say this one. Torchlight. Torchlight in the context of thinking means when we search something, what we're looking for acts like a torchlight to illuminate part of our knowledge web. So I'm gonna write down torchlight, And since I only want to think about it to keep my knowledge active, I will restrict myself to 2 minutes for now. Torchlight. Torchlight has something to do with searching, and we are searching the knowledge web to get some ideas, and we're basically activating our memory. Actually, you know what? An ABC list can act as a torchlight, so can a CaWa. What else have I got for torchlight? And that's 2 minutes up. Now let's see what we got for our second tool. CaWa-composite. Okay, I first need to draw a couple of concepts. Let's say 6. We have 1, thinking by listing, focus, and fascination. What I'm trying to do now is I try to take these concepts and I try to add them to a CaWa. And the topic of the CaWa, let's just go broad and say it's thinking. Now I take my 6 concepts and I try to add them to the CaWa. Let's see. Okay, we have thinking by listing. That means using lists as thinking tools. And gratefully we have a T, so that's easy. We have again another T, active thinking, but I don't want to put everything on T. We have fascination and focus. Ooh, that's not so easy actually. Fascination is interest. It's more than interest. What is fascination? Fascination is burning desire, burning interest. Fascination is burning interest. Yeah, I like that. You need to have a burning interest about what you're thinking. And these were all my 6 concepts. Right, what have we got now? CaGa. CaGa means we got to draw the meaning of a concept. So I'm going to select another concept at random. Oh dear, just thinking, no, why? Oh no. Okay, fine. Genius thinking it is. Genius, I mean, I could draw maybe Albert Einstein, but I can't draw him. But I mean, what a lot of people think genius thinking is all about is actually, let me draw a head. A lot of people think genius thinking means this. You got a light bulb moment, and not only one. So that's what a lot of people think genius thinking is. They think a genius is just a person for who light bulbs are going off left and right wherever they're walking. This is, however, not really what a genius is. This is just what people think a genius is. So that is one way to CaGa it. Now let's think about this for a moment. What is a genius really? A genius is somebody who got a lot of knowledge in a particular area, who keeps that knowledge active, and because he is the expert, thanks to the rhodopsin effect, which I talked about in my last video, thanks to the rhodopsin effect, thanks to the rhodopsin effect, they got the expert bonus. So if they see a problem, they see an opportunity, they can identify it, and they can develop an appropriate answer to it. Right, all of that. How do I put this into a CaGa? Let me cross this thing out. This is not what a genius is. What's a genius? Genius has something to do with seeing. Of course, it can also be hearing or any other type of sense, but I think it's easier to draw seeing. So I'm gonna draw an eye, or at least what I consider to be an eye, and the eye is looking actively into the world. Right, so the eye is then hooked up to the brain, and what I mean by brain in this case means knowledge web. The eye sees something, transmits it to the brain, and there it activates a cascade of associations that, interestingly enough, works like a torchlight, and this is, I think, the first concept we started with the ABC today. So yeah, let's draw a torchlight. And I should use different colors. Let me use blue at least. It's a torchlight. Thank you. It's a torchlight that uses blue light apparently. And we see that this mental torchlight only activates a small part of your knowledge network. But basically, whatever part of the knowledge network it illuminates, it then sets off a cascade of association, as I said before, and these associations draw the light here and there and everywhere until, because you have so much in your knowledge web, let me actually draw this knowledge web really dense and close. Because you have so much in there, a genius is able to match what they see in the outside world with what is in their knowledge web. So this is a genius, whereas a non-genius, to also draw this, and we can put a versus, a non-genius also sees, it also connected to the knowledge web, but the knowledge web for this particular topic is very sparsely populated, whereas the knowledge web of the genius is really dense. And so the genius is much more likely to find something when they use their torchlight, their metaphorical one, than is the non-genius. So these are 3 games which you can play. Originally I intended to show you a couple of other games as well, but when editing the video I found it's already getting quite long. If you're interested in seeing other games which you can play, let me know in the comments below and I'm gonna make a follow-up video to this one. But before we close, I would like to mention 2 other important things. Firstly, you're not just playing this game to keep your knowledge active. When you're playing this game, it will happen comparatively often that you get additional ideas. Write them down. Write them down in such a way that later you're able to reconstruct what you were thinking at that point in time. And then continue your game. At a later point, go back to it and transfer it to a more permanent form of note-taking. For instance, a Zettelkasten, a notebook, or whatever. Secondly, when should you play the strategy lottery? The key thing is to do it on a regular basis. I would recommend doing it at least once a week, better more often. I found that for myself, Monday to Friday evenings works really well. I do it after dinner as a way to relax, to calm down, listen to some nice classical music, and it is a really great way for me to unwind from the stress of the day. But whether this is the case for you or not, it depends on you personally. So you will need to experiment a little bit and see what works best for you. Finally, before I bring this video to a close, we just recently crossed the 200 subscriber mark. I know this is not a lot on YouTube at all. However, I'm really happy that there's some people out there that think my videos are worth watching. Going into this, I had no idea whether I'd make some content people find interesting or whether I do it in a way that people like to watch. So seeing subscriber numbers increase is something really cool, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Also, if watching my videos gives you ideas about other videos you would like to see, always write them down in the comments below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you find the strategy lottery useful. If you haven't enough content in your knowledge web yet to play this game for your focus topic, you might be interested in building and expanding your knowledge web. In this case, this video might be useful, where I talk about how I go about making notes and processing them. Otherwise, if you want to see other thinking tools, you can click right here. Don't forget to give the like button a high five, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and until next time, keep thinking.